Good afternoon, Daddy 40.
Good afternoon, sir.
Y'all can relax. I don't have any more PowerPoints for you. I kind of did my PowerPoints. I just want to have a few words with you, share a few thoughts, some things that have been going through my mind lately. I had an opportunity to think, more of an opportunity than I usually have to have less distractions because the cell phone tower went out by my apartment, and nobody could reach me. It's been really nice. No text messages, no phone calls, no ex-girlfriends harassing me. So it's been really nice to have that, kind of have that silence at night, and have nobody be able to reach me. And in my thoughts, I started thinking about a few things. In AS class, Major Garrett talked to us the other day, and we kind of discussed due to some current events how the perception of the military has changed over the last, let's say, 40 years or so. I mean, it's always changing. But you think about those cadets that walked around campuses in Vietnam and how they got spat on and they got protested. We walk around, people say thank you for our service. They support our troops. They hand us yellow ribbons. They remember us. They hold organizations to raise money for us. It's way different than what it used to be. I walk into Pluckers, check on Cadet Washington. Make sure he's not having a heart attack. And I happen to be in uniform, and people thank me for my service as if I've done something special. They don't even know that I haven't served in active duty yet. They don't know that I'm just a cadet. They might not even know the difference between a piece of cloth and an oak leaf. But they thank me, and they honor me, and they say, we appreciate what you do, even though I haven't done it. They don't know me individually, but they appreciate what I do. And I started thinking, why? They don't even know me. They appreciate this uniform and what I represent, what you all represent, what we represent. We represent a set of higher standards and higher ideals. If there is a modern day hero, we are it. This is the closest thing to a cape and tights that you're going to get. This is the closest thing to a suit of armor that you're going to get. You won't catch me wearing tights, but that ain't no offense to that, right? But I started thinking, what makes us that? What makes the American public look at us with such high esteem, hold us to those higher standards? Why are we their heroes? And I started to think of what I was going to do to live up to that standard, if I was living up to that standard. And I had to go inside myself. And I think everybody has to go inside yourself. It takes courage. It takes courage to be here. It takes courage to sit here in this uniform and to pursue officership, to be an officer candidate. It takes courage. Colonel Dodge talks about the 1% all the time. 1% of the American public serve in the United States military. There's 35,000 people, 35,000 students on this campus. There's only about 75 of us in this room, give or take. Looks like even less today. That's about 0.002%. So I applaud you for even sitting in this room in the first place. So start thinking about what it takes to shoulder that burden, to carry the legacy that those have left before us. To have that kind of courage, you have to know who you are. You have to go inside yourself. We had the chiefs come here the other day, and they said something that really resonated with me. They said, is this a job application for you? We had Chief Pfeffer, and he said when he was going up for re-enlistment, he asked himself, or his supervisor asked him, is this a job or is this a way of life? And he couldn't answer that question at the time. And his supervisor told him, if this is just a job to you, you have no place in my Air Force. And you'll hear people in the Air Force say that all the time, my Air Force. They claim it, they own it. They're proud of this honorable profession, the undertaking that they chose in this life. It's not just a job, it's a way of life. So if this is a job for you, I want you to kind of re-examine why you're here. I want you to think about why you're here. I want you to think about your purpose, why you sit here, why you put the uniform on, why you wake up at 5 in the morning to work out when everyone else is sleeping or partying. I want you to think about what's important to you. what's right and wrong, what are your morals, what are your values, how do you want to live, what kind of person do you want to be. See, in order to lead with the courage of your convictions, you have to know these kinds of things. You have to know who you are. You have to dig deep. No one else will be able to tell you what it is. You have to be able to find it yourself. I've grown up in this program. Day 40 means so much more to me than just an Air Force ROTC program. It's changed the way I live. I don't fit in with my friends at home anymore. I don't hang out with the homies. It doesn't feel right. I've grown up and I'm starting to learn what it means to become a man in this program. And I'll tell you a quick story about one of my good buddies. He used to be a cadet, now he's a lieutenant. And I mean, he was the most perfect officer candidate you can ever imagine. He had the pedigree for it. His father was a colonel. His grandfather was a chief and served in Vietnam. He looked the part. He was 6'4", blonde. He's a distinguished graduate. And if you've been here previous to this semester, you know what I'm talking about. He's blonde, muscular. He looked the part, you know. He was everything that you would ask for in a cadet. Distinguished graduate, became the wing commander, and he was a good friend of mine. And I was a flight commander, he was a wing commander. And I go up to him one day, and I say, hey man, out of uniform, kind of relaxed. Hey man, what's going on? And he's like, oh man, I'm just trying to figure out a way. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to pay back all these Air Force ROTC loans. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to pay back this USA loan. I'm trying to figure out what the consequences are going to be when I decide not to become an Air Force officer. So you had reached this breaking point. Sometimes you don't look inside yourself until you reach that breaking point. Until you're held against the fire. This cadet, he had reached it. He was taking 18 hours. He was the wing commander. He had all these expectations of his family, of this detachment on his shoulders, those burdens. He was going back and forth between Randolph, applying for a job that he wasn't sure he was going to get. He wasn't sure if he wanted it. He had to go inside himself and figure out if this is what he wanted. Sometimes that's what it takes. And I know it's hard to figure out as 100 or 200, maybe even 300. You don't know when you're going to find it out. But you need to figure it out. Before you hold that hand up and you decide to take the oath of office, you need to find it out where you stand, who you are, and what you want in this life. And he figured it out. He figured out that he wanted to serve. He wanted to dedicate his life and career to this country. He figured it out, but it took that difficult time for him to figure that out. And we need you to figure it out. We need you to dedicate your life and understand this is not just a job anymore. This is a way of life. We don't want to just make good leaders. We want to make good people. We want the American public to look up to us. We want to hold that higher standard. We want to lead good people, good men and women, good brothers, sisters, nieces, the best airmen. You'll be leading those people. When you leave here, you'll be leading those people. I know where I stand. I know this is not a job to me, it's way more than that. I want to serve next to those people. I want to deploy next to those people. I want to fight next to those people. I want to give back to my country. I want to serve next to honorable, good people and good leaders. Next to Colonel Dodgers, next to Major Finans, Major Garrett's, Captain Wilkinson's. I want to serve next to those people. I want that opportunity. I need you to want that too. So when you go home for this Thanksgiving, I want you to think about what you're doing here, what your purpose is, why you're sitting here in the first place. If you don't know what you believe, you're not going to know how. I mean, you have to know where you're going. You have to know why you believe it. Before you can know how to do it and what to do, you have to know why you're here. So go home and be thankful. Be thankful for all that you've given, all that you've been given. Be thankful for your family. Be thankful for the things that have been given to you. But also go inside yourself and think about why you're here, what your purpose is. Because it's not for everybody. This life isn't for everybody. It really isn't. But if you decide that this is for you, you need to know why. You need to have this courage to stand by your convictions and know what those convictions are. And I'll end by using someone else's words, because a lot of times the great leaders in the Air Force can put things way better than I could. And General Wilson's speech that we watched last semester, I know not all of you have seen it. We'll get you that link if you haven't seen it, if you're a new cadet. But he ends his speech talking about when you decide to take on that challenge of leading the best airmen in the world, good people, with higher moral conduct, high values, that you need to be ready. You can't let them down, you need to be ready. And I honestly believe that. Ladies and gentlemen, when you come back over Thanksgiving break, you come back next semester, we need you to figure it out. We need you to dig deep inside yourself and figure out why you're here. We need you to be ready.